Player 2 has entered the game.
Welcome to the first episode of Player 2 podcast with me, Ben Messenger, and Adam McPherson. It's a podcast where two guys from the northeast of England talk about video games.
Pretty much.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's the first ever.
Yeah, I'm bricking it a bit, but
It's not our first venture into podcast,
No.
but we thought we'd take it to the next level with a bit of filming, you know, in my fabulous kitchen.
yeah. Well, the light will probably improve with time.
I think everything will probably improve with
Yeah,
time.
that's true.
The only static disappointment will probably be us. Like, 'cause
Yeah,
there's some
probably.
things you can't maintain. So, I mean, the format's going to be pretty straightforward. We'll probably just cover a lot of gaming news. Some episodes will probably have a set topic. With our first one, we're just going to ramble about gaming
Yeah.
news and probably talk about like what we're playing.
Yeah, what we're looking forward to.
Yeah. But I mean, I've got so much news to talk about. I don't even know where to begin. Like, have you heard about the US Senator coming up with this act about loot boxes?
Yeah, so this is where loot boxes, it's really weird because there's a...
We always get into it about loot
Yeah,
boxes.
we do.
don't we?
Because I'm not sure if I agree with it being classed as gambling, and I know that's a really controversial point of view as a
Yeah.
gamer.
Well, maybe it isn't that controversial because there's a lot of people who are against it, who agree with you, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost a 50-50 split, isn't it? Where
Yeah, I think...
some states are like no, and others are like yes.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's very much the... There is an element of gambling because you don't know what you're going to get and there's rarities and everything.
yeah,
But I don't really see it as gambling because you always win. You always get something.
you always get
You
the
always-
item.
You always get the value of what's in the box.
Yeah,
It's just that you might get something that's worth more.
yeah,
But that's not dictated by... It's dictated by the rarity of the item,
yeah.
but it's the market and the players that
I mean,
determine that
I
cost.
see your point.
and-
I don't know about the value of the box because like a box is what, £2 sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
even
no.
like, even the rare skins probably sometimes not worth.
No, like, that's not what I mean. What I mean
Well,
is,
yeah.
if the box is worth £2, $2,
Yeah.
whatever value it is, you're always going to get the same amount of stuff
Yeah.
out of it. You're not always going to get the same stuff, you can get different skins, but it's just, I'm not sure if I like it being called gambling. I think it's
Yeah.
predatory and
Yeah.
horrible, and I don't like
Absolutely
it.
predatory. I just want it out of games, not even in the sense of I'm like, think of the children. I just want it out of most games because the thing is, the more successful it is, the more prevalent it becomes in the games that we play, and I don't want that.
Yeah, the
I'm still burnt over Overwatch when the first Halloween set of skins came out, the very first year of Overwatch, and it was the most I played Overwatch that month because I really wanted like it was the Frankenstein skin, I think, for Roadhog.
For
I was
Roadhog,
like, I've
yeah.
got to get that skin, and like I didn't have enough. I can't remember what the coin currency is in that game now. So long ago that I played it because it was the first year. But I was just so excited and I opened like 40 boxes and I got nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't get a single Halloween skin.
Like,
And I was like, I'm not paying for them.
I get that, but my worry is that it bleeds into other aspects like collectible card games,
Yeah.
like Magic the
The
Gathering.
big,
and
the
stuff.
big argument is card games or sticker packs because it's the same system, isn't it?
It's exactly the
and
same
we all
system.
bought into it as kids, like we all bought like Pokemon cards and football cards, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's the worry that like where do they draw the line of like
Yeah.
when it's gambling
On the
and when
face
it's
of the
not.
child,
Yeah.
draw the line,
And
go ask your mum for your credit card deal.
it
Use
does,
your dad's thumbprint while he's asleep. and
well, that's the problem. That's why it kicked off, is because people are getting charges on their cards
oh
because
God, yeah, of
kids
course.
want
It's crazy.
the stuff, and I agree with it to protect kids. I don't think as adults we can have the argument of saying, well, I don't like it because I don't want to spend money on it. We have the
Yeah.
choice.
I
Kids
agree completely.
don't.
You have completely the choice of what game you want to play. That's the problem I have is obviously it's seeping into every genre. It wasn't a staple of shooters until
Yeah.
the success of FIFA's Ultimate Team. And there's some guy on a motorbike. I was
Yeah.
like, that'll definitely be big. that's what happens when you're in my kitchen and you live
Yeah.
in a classy area.
Yeah.
That wasn't just my tummy rumbling. It was a guy on a motorbike. I know that guy. I will fight him later. But yeah, like I think it's like I say, it's one of those things. We understand literally the fact that it's going to be in games, but it's for me, it's personally the disappointment of like every shooter that I love has a loot box system.
Yeah,
now.
no, I think it's
I mean, I understand a lot of the time it's cosmetic only, and I mean that's the acceptable face of loot boxes these days. But it's still really
it's predatory and it's not great for the industry,
Yeah.
and I do think it needs some sort of curtailing.
But yeah, what I originally had as well is the guy who's coming up with that act as well. There's another company called Juniper Research that they reckon the skins industry is going to be $1 billion industry by 2022.
Yeah, that doesn't.
That's insane, though, isn't it? Like that's the face of gaming.
Yeah.
Is that's the future? Is
Yeah, I mean,
remember when you used to just unlock it in the game and you used to just play it?
we've got Oblivion to blame.
Oh,
Horse armor.
Horse armor.
That's the start of it.
The horse armor.
That's the
thing
start.
is-
That's basically the start of.
What I think is hilarious is, and I'm completely guilty of this, like the hypocrisy of it is that I was starting to get sick of like these premium things, and like Battlefield did premium. I was like fucking sick of premium. That's ridiculous. And now I'm like, please bring premium back. Like
Yeah.
I would love premium to come back. You know what I mean? I mean that leads into just in general like the whole games as a service thing. I don't feel like Battlefield is certainly a game where they've really let people down on the games as a service aspect. Whereas if we were paying for the premium, we'd probably have a better breadth of content coming out in a better
Yeah.
time frame.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's been a bit like disappointing in that
The
sense.
industry's always going to change though, and technology changes and everything. I'm going to sound like an old man here. I've been gaming since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like my first game.
Back when everything was black and white.
It was a ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
Like that's showing my
Yeah.
age.
Had to crank it to get
Yeah.
the power.
And like, I remember I used to play games and that. I used to buy them on cassette. Like, yeah. And I remember getting my the Sega Mega Drive.
What year was that? Like the ZX Spectrum being relevant?
80s.
Was it mid 80s?
Yeah, sort of. I think 80. Well, I would have been about 87, 88, 89 when I was
Yeah.
sort of. I was like 5.
Yeah.
Sort of years old and a bit older. So I was playing that up into the 90s until I
My
got
first
the Mega
console
Drive.
was just the original Nintendo. Like I'm not as old as you.
Yeah, you see, I never got the
Yeah.
original NES.
Yeah.
I went from Spectrum and then to Mega Drive, so I missed
Yeah,
out on the 8-bit
I don't know who I was
systems.
talking about this, but it's like a thing, isn't it? People went Nintendo or like that's the original
It was
console war, isn't
Nintendo,
it? Really?
Sega, yeah.
And like my youth is shaped gaming wise by that. So like I lean towards Mario because I grew up with Mario, and I don't
Sonic.
have that fond memory of Sonic that people have.
Yeah.
So like when there's the whole backlash with the film and stuff, I'm like either way it's gonna be shit.
yeah. No, but that Sonic, oh
Yeah.
my god, that looked horrible.
Yeah, it does look really horrible.
Yeah.
Like Jim Carrey's a strange choice, but then he's obviously bone thin, and they're not got him in a fat suit or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but it's Jim Carrey. He normally dresses up for his roles. Like, why haven't you got him in a fat suit?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't he called Dr. Eggman now
Yeah.
rather than Robotnik?
Well, he was Eggman in Japan.
Was he?
It was
Oh, right,
Robotnik in the West, so
Right.
in the US and Europe.
So Eggman, obviously based on his shape,
Yeah.
and then you've got Jim Carrey, who's Stickman.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
antithesis to Eggman.
Branch Man.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, mainly I don't understand. I was thinking about this, like who the film's actually for, because it's a kids' film, but there isn't really a generation of kids now who grew up with Sonic.
No.
Sonic was like, if you're 10 years old, Sonic probably hasn't been in your life unless your dad really forced it upon you.
Yeah. I mean, when was that the TV series? Like
That was the 90s,
Was that the 90s?
the TV series, and like when has there been a really good Sonic game in the past? I can't remember the name of it. They did one where it was the classic graphics quite recently, and it was like loads of new levels.
Oh, it was like Sonic 4, wasn't it?
Was it?
And then, oh no, there was another one. Yeah.
It was like
What was it
arcade or
called?
classic or something. It had a name, but it was like that old style. It was the
Yeah,
16
so it was
bit
like a
stuff.
3D one at the same
Yeah.
time, didn't there?
And like that was the first one where I was like, oh well, it's a Sonic. If I was a Sonic fan, I'd probably be interested in that as content, but I'm not.
Yeah,
Just not.
I've just sort of grown out of
Yeah.
playing Sonic games.
Going out of platformers in general, I think.
Yeah, unless it's something like Salt and Sanctuary, which is kind of like a Dark Souls
Yeah.
side scroller, or Metroid
See,
type
I'd
games
like- yeah,
and
I
stuff.
don't-
That's
yeah.
sort of like.
Yeah, I don't think Salt and Sanctuary is the same level as
No,
Sonic really is.
But it's a side-scrolling platform.
I think like just I didn't even have the dexterity for Mario. Can you imagine just trying to play Salt and Sanctuary at like 4 years old? Why don't they have faces? I'll never sleep again. Like
That's true.
yeah, but yeah. I mean, other news. What I'm very excited about is this is sarcastic, obviously. Is THQ Nordic is still working on Dead Island 2?
Yeah, by the Namco of Square Enix. They've just announced that they're going to publish that.
Right. Yeah, is that going to be good?
I don't know.
It was weird because they showed that gameplay fucking years ago, man. It was like 5 years ago, and it was
Yeah.
like 8-player co-op.
Yeah.
It was like the thing, and the graphics looked obviously they look dated now, but at the time I was like, oh, that seems like a step forward. But I mean, Dying Light was great. Well, Dying Light 2 was great. So
No, Dying Light 2 isn't out yet.
is it not? Oh, sorry, you're right.
I
Yeah.
think they're Dying
I'm
Light.
thinking of the DLC. What was the DLC called?
The following.
The following, yeah. Well, Dying Light 2 and the following DLC, the art was great, and then
Yeah.
so maybe it could have legs, but it's such a same. It's the same market, and then
Yeah.
Dying Light 2 feels more modern because the zombies running. It's like got that parkour element.
Yeah, but I've always been a fan of slow zombies.
Yeah.
I don't like runners. I don't know what it is.
The
I think
problem, I mean, I have this with all video games, is I like slow zombies as well, but they never do a game where it's just slow zombies. They're like, well, because there isn't runners, there has to be one that spits.
Yeah, and
There
there's
has
one
to
that
be-
explodes.
There has to be a bloater. There's like, yeah.
Yeah, but then that's down to Left 4 Dead, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that was a great co-op game.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's so weird that Left 4 Dead 3 hasn't happened, or we haven't had like a modern remake on console,
Yeah.
like a remaster. So that like that void has had to be filled by other games, like say Vermintide's filming that. World War Z just come out like recently.
Yeah.
That's like what, a month ago, and that's Left 4 Dead third person. It is exactly Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
It's the same class types. There's the tank. There's the one that holds you down when your friend has to shoot them off you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just has that whole. The only thing is that horde mechanic, and the horde mechanic is actually quite interesting,
Mhm.
but it's not a game. It's you have to. All your friends have to have that game.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
When you're playing with AI,
you
it's
can't
a bit-
play that game with the eye. It's just terrible.
Mm.
So, any news that you're excited about or interested in?
There's the fact that Microsoft are putting their game on Steam. So
Right.
Microsoft Game Studios are going to go on Steam. Phil
Okay.
Spencer came out and basically said he wants people to be able to access the games
From anywhere.
from anywhere with there's multiple sources. So because they were always locked behind the Windows Game Store,
Yeah.
but apparently they're going to start pushing them out on
Wow.
Steam.
Do you think that's detrimental to Xbox long term?
No, I don't think so. I think what they originally had was they wanted the PC versions because the Microsoft first party
Yeah.
games were going to PC.
Yeah.
Forza,
Well,
all that.
it's like a cross-buy thing, isn't it? Where you get a copy
Yeah,
on
you buy
Xbox
it
and
on
on
PC.
Yeah, on PC.
And all they wanted was people in their ecosystem,
Yeah.
and I think they're just pushing Game Pass,
Yeah.
so they don't need that ecosystem for their games anymore because they'll have Game Pass. Because this leads into other news. Obviously,
Yeah.
you've got Xbox are putting Xbox Live services on Switch,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
there's probably going to be a Game Pass on there. Game Pass is coming to PC,
Yeah.
and all of
I think Game Pass is actually great, to be fair.
Yeah,
Like,
it's great value.
Absolutely great value. Like, it's that whole thing of like this late in the cycle, a lot of people are like, should I get an Xbox or should I just wait next gen? I'm like, get a One S for like £100 and
Mhm.
get Game Pass. Like,
yeah,
you've got 100+ games.
The
and
value
a lot of
proposition.
great games. If you've not played, like it's for hardcore people like me and you, there is still value in it, but obviously not as much because a lot of those games I've probably bought them.
yeah.
But like if you're more casual, you're planning to buy 1 or 2 games a year because £60 a game is
It's a lot of
expensive.
money,
It's
yeah.
an expensive hobby, you know what I mean? Like I'm poor as fuck and I still waste money on video games. You know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely worth it. Like
Oh, yeah,
$7.99 a month.
yeah, and they're going to
So
do.
many games.
I mean, they're pushing on the Insider program. You can get. They're going to start doing a Gold and Game Pass
Yeah.
combined thing you can
Yeah.
buy. Looking at the cost of what it's going to be, it's only going to be about 99p cheaper. But if you're already paying for
But yeah, if
Gold
you're already
and
paying
Game Pass,
Game Pass is £7
it's
then why not?
£8, yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously you'd probably be able to get it cheaper on.
Yeah,
like,
CD keys or
CD,
something.
yeah.
Like that,
But Game Pass, obviously going to PC, Paradox, all their grand strategy
Yeah.
games like Crusader Kings and everything
yeah.
are going to be on Game Pass.
Well, I've heard a rumour, it's just a rumour, but apparently Bethesda, a lot of their games might be coming to Game Pass. Well, they might be getting some sort of deal between the two.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And they're talking about even Rage 2 being on within 6 months. And you're like, that's just come out, that's great.
yeah, I mean,
that is great.
if you look at what Bethesda games are already on Game Pass, you've got
Yeah, Doom's
Oblivion,
already on there, yeah.
Doom's on there, Fallout 4's on there,
Fallout
Fallout
4,
3's on
yeah.
there, Elder Scrolls Online's on
Yeah.
there. Like,
You know, I'm still waiting for Skyrim, but like Todd Howard has to sell it on every platform.
Yeah.
doesn't he? Absolutely. I do like his stance on that. I think we've talked about that on at a different podcast many moons ago about how Todd Howard just was like, you stop buying it, I'll stop it.
Yeah, he's right though.
You know what I mean?
People are going to
Like
buy
you
it.
can play it on a
sell
Nokia 3310 now. You know, I've got Snake 2 and Skyrim like that.
it.
I would totally play that.
Yeah, I would. It'd be pretty cool.
Actually, on Rage 2, I don't know if you've seen this, like, it's got cheat codes. Like, and one of the modes is Danny Dyer commentating over the top of that game, and it's called, like, Diamond Geezer mode, and it's like Danny Dyer going, oh, you think you're odd? Like,
Is
oh,
it actually Danny Dyer?
actually Danny Dyer? Like, because they did an advert, and he was on the advert, and I was like, that's silly, but it's an advert, it's a bit of fun. But then they've done that. I suppose the same. It's silly. It's a bit of fun. But can you imagine playing the game? I couldn't
No,
handle more than
I
10
could-
minutes of
No, I
Danny
couldn't.
Dyer. Just
Yeah, that's not for me.
that game's been getting some mixed reviews. I've held off on it because it should be right up my street. I love first person games. I love post-apocalyptic. I'm a huge fan of Borderlands. I saw yourself, but I don't know. It's just apparently the reviews are just too short and a bit too easy and.
Yeah, and I've heard the car combat's not as good.
Yeah.
It's like Mad Max.
That's
and it's
what
the
that
same
one is.
development team.
Yeah.
So how does that happen?
That's what interested us about the game. I might have said this to you. It's like, obviously, first person shooting I'm completely comfortable with. The part I wasn't going to be comfortable with was the driving side of it. But I enjoyed Mad Max. I thought, oh, that might be something more. Because that's one of the things I think is a really weak point in Borderlands is the driving's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like, wow, you put this really good chasing down big convoys and taking them out. I was like, that's going to be badass. That was badass on Mad Max. Pulling bits of the car off and
Yeah.
now it seems like it's like auto lock on and you're just kind of driving the other them while they slowly chip away at the health.
Yeah. I wonder if they just didn't think that it would. Like, obviously, Mad Max is all about
Yeah.
the car. It was mostly about the car.
It was
like,
the car, yeah.
The onslaught stuff in Mad Max was okay.
It was just like
but
but
it was-
asylum, wasn't it? It was
yeah.
just, yeah.
But the car stuff was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And I wonder if just with Rage 2 they want to make the focus more on the shooting
Yeah.
and stuff.
The thing is, though, is I was excited about all of the powers. Obviously, that's what makes the shooting a bit more interesting, is the advanced movement and the double jumps and the ground pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently, it's like most people hadn't unlocked even half of the abilities before they'd finished the game. Like apparently it's like where like you'll be doing a mission and then the credits come up and people are like, whoa, that's abrupt. Like
Yeah.
I thought this had like another hour at least. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So like a lot of people haven't unlocked half the stuff and then they have like restarting to go and find. I think it's like somewhere on the map you go and find do like kill so many dudes and that's when you
Yeah.
unlock the next. And like people are like, oh yeah, I had like 3, and like I was playing on hard and I beat it and I'm like, wow, that's. I mean, I suppose a testament to good shooting if the shooting's good enough to see you through the game without those powers. But those powers are what was like.
That's the selling
It's
point.
gonna, it's
isn't
the
it?
selling point. It's like going to augment the experience, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to hold off on that one, I think.
Yeah.
If it goes to Game Pass,
Oh,
great.
Game
That's when I'll
Pass,
play
yeah.
it.
Game Pass is like absolutely strong. It's really. I mean, there's that whole thing is obviously Xbox in talks about providing their cloud service to PlayStation.
Yeah, that's
So that's big.
huge.
It's huge.
Like,
I was talking about. I don't know. I was talking about like how the Xbox One S and the One X they have 4K Blu-ray player in, which obviously Blu-ray is owned by Sony, and then the PS4 port doesn't have. Like I always think that's weird. It's like they're obviously paying, so maybe they're going to make that money back now.
yeah. It's an interesting to see where that one goes.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, don't get us wrong. Obviously, it's personal opinion, but I do think that Xbox is a more stable service from my own personal experience versus PlayStation.
I would
Obviously,
agree.
one person or even 2 people's opinion isn't necessarily.
Yeah, no, that's
Of the but like I'm thinking if the service that I get from Xbox currently is more stable, if they're going to start using that, then maybe that's going to be a more stable service for me,
yeah.
which is great, you know.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see where it goes. Obviously.
Maybe it's just like I said, it could just be entirely for the future of gaming, game streaming, because PlayStation Now is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Like that is terrible. Like I don't have the best internet, but I have like more than good enough for PlayStation Now. And PlayStation Now runs like shit. Like I tried the like 7-day trial, and it
Yeah, I
was
did
just
the
like
same. And
the input lag's so noticeable.
yeah, like you could play games that.
I mean,
don't-
I'm still not sold on Xboxes, like on like xCloud, because on the videos like playing on a phone and it's like Forza, and they're just like driving in a straight line. I'm like, turn then. And
Yeah.
they don't on the video. I'm like, turn then. And I'm like, because they don't want you to see the input lag. Like,
yeah,
and that's I'm worried about that.
yeah. I just hope it doesn't become the de facto way to get your
Yeah.
games streaming because
Well, that's
The
I mean that's
infrastructure's not
the
there
same with
for a
loot
lot of
boxes,
people.
isn't it? Like I feel like even if you don't get on board with it, that's become the face of gaming, and I'm worried that streaming might. I don't think it will because like there's whole nations where you just be locking them out of gaming. Like Australia's got like universally bad internet. They've got
Yeah.
like one of the lowest. And, like
America's got universally bad.
you know, why can they just like not have half the population be able to play games? It's not.
Yeah, like
I think it's going to be an option for some, but same still. I've recently just got my first 4K monitor, so I've only just started playing actually seeing it in 4K, and it's like it's not going to stream in 4K because that's way too big of a file
Yeah.
size to stream.
definitely.
Like even my broadband, I'm not like I can watch a video in 4K, but I doubt I could play a game in 4K.
No.
And it'd be even less people who can. So like, I don't want to take the step back now. Like I'm like, oh fuck yeah, it's so nice. It's mainly the HDR. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm like, oh, it's so nice. I never want to go back. And like that's what we want from next generation. We want things like that to become more standard. I mean, personally, I'd rather just have a better frame rate.
Yeah.
I've heard another rumour. I mean, I watch a lot of videos on YouTube, so it could just people fishing me,
crap,
lovely
yeah.
talking for clicks. But one guy was saying like for the next gen is 60 will be the standard, but some games could be as much as 120 frames per second. I'm like, finally, because I'm sick of just being like 60, and you're like, there is more than 60, right? You know what I mean? Some
Yeah.
games must be able to do that. The big games now that hit 60, no bother, that could do more,
Yeah.
but why not?
There's Mortal Kombat 11 runs at 60,
Yeah,
but it does all like their fatal blows and their fatalities are at 30.
right.
So the gameplay's at 60, which is great, and it looks
Yeah,
like
fluid and fast.
fluid,
yeah,
great. But then there's just a bit more detail, like within the fatalities and
Yeah.
stuff, and like they can just get away with like they look better.
Yeah.
But
I want more options in games for graphics. Like in Gears of War 4 did it, where it was like you could have, if you're playing on the One X anyway, you could have the 4K at 30, or you could have like 1080p 60.
yeah,
And I think more options like that,
Yeah.
like go based on what you want.
yeah,
Because I play that at 60 frames per second because it's a combat game. Like I want my shooting
Yeah,
to be
you-
fluid as I want my headshot to be as fast. Like I bet that 1 millisecond difference is the
Yeah.
difference between me hitting and not. You know what I mean? Or you can, if you got friends around, you want to show off and be like, oh, look at this. Like
Yeah.
let's get that in. You know what I mean?
like you need every advantage you can
Yeah.
get.
Oh, hey. I mean that is why I bought a monitor. And it works for us, right? I went from like 1 kill to 1.5. Like 1 kill and I do 98 damage to the second guy. Is there anything
no,
worse
that's
than
it.
98 damage?
99.
Hey. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. What do you think about Ghost Recon Breakpoint? Did you watch the trailer?
I watched the trailer. Interesting idea. I didn't play much Wildlands.
Yeah, so. Do you think they can execute on exactly what they showed, where it's going to be actually fun? Because I felt like it was a lot of watching a bar slowly filling. It was like, stamina.
Yeah,
And stamina isn't necessarily always fun, even for like realism. Like,
I think there's definitely a place for it. Like I quite like some of those survival games, like Conan Exiles and
Yeah.
stuff, like Minecraft. Where you got to go
Yeah.
out and gather resources and stay alive,
Yeah,
and feed and eat. I like those, but in a sort of shooter game, I'm not sure if I do.
I can remember it was a DayZ where it was like obviously bug years out when it first came out, and then it was like you could go over like something knee high and it'd be like your leg's broken. Like it was like an accident, like because it was like you could only break your legs. You're only meant to break your legs if you like fell from a great height.
Yeah,
But it was like a bug, so it was like you went over something knee high and broke your legs, and like I was like, oh, that's a chore. Like even breaking your legs is a bit of a fucking chore in a game.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's like I lean to that side of it, and I'm like,
It needs to try a good balance of fun.
I think Wildlands wasn't what a lot of people expected anyway.
Yeah.
But it sold really well, and I can't see them selling as well if it's a more hardcore experience. That's not to say they shouldn't do that. Like I prefer more hardcore games generally than.
Yeah.
But then they don't seem to sell as well. Like a lot of the games I play aren't necessarily the most successful games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like there isn't a place for that, but it just seems surprising to me as a company as big as Ubisoft, who care completely about success and money, would be like, hey, let's not make this everything it could be. Like,
Yeah.
or like less casual, because not like I would say Wildlands was the most casual Tom Clancy game. It was basically just third person Far Cry.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. I'll wait to see a bit more of it.
Yeah.
I like some of the ideas.
Yeah. Hopefully, like at E3, we might actually see a normal person playing it
Yeah,
instead of one of the forced demos.
yeah. We won't. We don't see normal people play games.
Can Ubisoft do a demo where they like have humans, like real humans, where they're like, like there's that cave down there, but I'm doing it on Saturday with Nancy, so like let's skip straight past it. I'm like, what?
That was the anthem
Yeah,
thing,
like
wasn't it?
you'd go into that cave. Even if I'd already been in that cave, I'd be like, Adam, there's a big monster in this cave, let's go fight it.
Yeah, like, yeah, I don't like those demos
No.
at all. I'd just rather see raw gameplay footage with no commentary over the top. Like actors talking.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It's not what happens in real
I
life.
don't mind them doing the scripted demo in the sense because you're trying to show off the high points of the game, but like you say, I'd rather it just be the dry gameplay.
Yeah, just yes, it's somewhat.
Or if there
very
is like
specific.
interactions, if it was like actually just the voice actors doing the characters, but not people
Yeah.
pretending to be on a headset when you're in another film and in the same studio, side by side, none of them have a controller in their hand.
Yeah. The other thing I hate in those demos is that slow pan.
Oh,
Like when they're
God,
looking at
yeah.
like a sunset or something, and you're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
no one does that.
Nobody does that.
No one
Sometimes
does
I will stop and look in certain games. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, as much as I didn't really enjoy that game personally, it was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's moments where I would just be like, wow, look at this like vista, like
Oh, I-
look over this canyon and just stop and be like, wow.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think because we're the, like I say, our generation and maybe a few years before we really grew up with the absolute going from Pong to now.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm just like, wow,
I'm
what
not
games
that
are
old,
just yeah, well, yeah, but like I'm like that sometimes. I'm just like I'm in awe. I'm like, wow, look how far we've come.
Well, I am like, it always impresses me, and it's always funny when like I'm showing my parents something like because they were always really impressed with graphics.
Yeah.
Like they don't care about games.
Yeah.
But I'll show them something. I'll be like, oh, this game looks great. Have a look at this,
Yeah.
and they're like,
What?
what?
Yeah, and it's like it's the fact that it's like a 3D environment and you can move around in
Yeah.
it as you choose. Like that's why I'm not so on VR so much personally, because obviously it takes so much more processing power for you to have that headset on two screens and be able to look around and move, and that's why the quality's a bit shit. So like if you think of it, obviously it's in like its first round. It is essentially it is the original Nintendo of VR right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You've got to think of like
there.
VR 3, 4 is probably when it's going to be like, all right, I'm on board now.
Yeah, it'll get there.
Yeah, but I'm still not.
I'm not so. I think it's too high a price point to get in at
Too
this
high
stage.
price point to get in for what the content is there now.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, I would agree. Like, I
don't-
like
I
VR,
don't- like I think
but I like the idea of
I
VR.
suppose like the longer time goes on, the better it is to jump in because there's more content to consume. Because if you were to just have got it at launch, it's like less than one game a month.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, well, that's not really monetarily viable or worth it.
yeah. A lot of them just seem like tech demos.
Yeah.
The minute, like not.
They
really
do, yeah.
games,
A lot of them are just like,
demos.
yeah, it's archery in VR. You're like, yeah, that's cool, but it probably shouldn't be its own game. It should probably be like a party game of like 40 different things in one. Like,
Yeah,
like it should be WarioWare, like archery or something, you know what I mean?
yeah, or as part of like an Olympics game or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's the only place I can think of that actually.
Yeah. There's a track and field on the NES. Was it the SNES or the NES where it was like you'd kill your hand smashing him big like to make the guy run.
Oh yeah,
And it was like just a
too
little
much.
8-bit sprite, and you just be like,
You never learn the t-shirt technique.
no.
You basically, if it's two buttons, like
Yeah.
I learned it on PlayStation on International Track and Field, I think it was
Oh
called.
yeah. So you take his t-shirt
You-
off,
no,
you
you-
smother your friends, and then you win.
That's one way to do
Alright,
that.
yeah.
You basically, you can use a towel or whatever, but
Yeah.
you basically just put it on like over your finger, and you map the buttons to be next to each other, and you just roll like that.
Just
It's like, you always wear it. Like you'd smash world records in like every run.
That's gonna be so awkward later on when my girlfriend walks in. I'm like, just like, why are you shirtless? You know.
You don't even take your shirt off. You use like the bottom of your
No,
t-shirt.
no, I understand you don't need to. Oh, I understand.
Fair
I
enough.
want it. Speaking of Ubisoft, Ubisoft have also announced that they're going to drop 4 new titles before March 2020.
Yeah.
So obviously that's one of them's got to be Breakpoint. Obviously.
Yeah, one Breakpoint,
So
one will
does
be
that mean
Rainbow
we're gonna-
Six
do you
Siege
think we're
2.
gonna get? Yeah. Do you think they'll do a Siege 2 this gen?
No, actually, well,
I was thinking about this because like obviously I'm a huge Battlefield player. Like I love Battlefield as much as 5's been a fucking joke, but I'm still.
Yeah.
They're just hammers, you know what I mean? They're just hammers. I love Battlefield. But I was thinking obviously next year is when the next Battlefield would come out, going by the previous like the last 8 cycles. You know, it's every 2 years. But arguably, and like next gen's either going to be announced this year or early next year, and possibly most likely will be out next year. And I really don't want there to be a same, because it happened with Battlefield 4, where Battlefield 4 was on 360 and on Xbox One.
Yeah.
It was on PS3 and on PS4, and as such it was like held back in a sense. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't as good as it could have been, and the launch was fucking terrible because they were launching on so many platforms.
Yeah.
Like they were like overworking themselves, and I'm just like Battlefield 5's so beautiful, like visually. I don't want it, I really want them to take it to the next level. So if they've got the new hardware, I absolutely want them to take full advantage, and I don't want them to be like, well, we'll have to keep it within reason because we didn't want the Xbox One original to look so fucking terrible.
I think that's going to happen regardless. I think
Yeah.
the way that the industry's going and the way that the next consoles look, especially from Microsoft's point of view,
Yeah.
I think that anything that works on the next Xbox will also work on
I think.
the One, and it'll be graphics options.
Yeah.
It'll be like PC.
I hope it is, if that's the sense, because I'm totally on board with options, more modes, but
Like, we'll see. I guess at E3 we're going to have some announcements.
the only thing I
Stuff.
don't like about that side of it is, it was Gears like locked the frame rate so that One X players wouldn't have an advantage over people on, but that doesn't happen on PC. Like you could have
Yeah.
fucking beast mode hardware and have like 300 frames per second, and someone could be barely hitting 30
Mm-hmm.
on their setup. Where it's like, I understand it for like a competitive mode, like literally, like if it's literally the competitive mode of the game, but if it's just the casual TDM or whatever,
Yeah.
like let us have, like I've paid for this console, like let us use it.
Yeah, no, I
Take the chains off.
yeah, there's a lot of questions
Yeah.
about like what it's going to be. That's just my take on it.
Yeah.
I'm not an insider or anything.
Right, yeah, not an insider.
But,
Actually, well, that's another. Ubisoft had delayed Skull and Bones.
the
Yeah,
Pirate-y
so it's weird considering they're saying they're dropping they're dropping 4 titles. So if Breakpoint's coming out, they're dropping 3, and then Skull and Bones isn't one of them.
yeah, like what are
What's
the
this
big
thing?
Ubisoft titles are there?
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they'll probably be Assassin's Creed.
I think the turnaround for Odyssey was too short.
I think,
But I don't think the quality really seemed to lack. But I just thought like one of the things that made Origins so different was that they took longer and
yeah,
and then
but
it,
then
like, reimagined it a bit, and then it was just like bang, straight another one straight away.
it's the same engine, same
Yeah.
gameplay mechanics.
But I just thought, I was like, oh, Ubisoft have learned that not run something into the ground, and then they smashed it.
Yeah,
And like, once again, I'm in that point where I don't want another Assassin's Creed because I feel there's too much at the minute.
yeah, I think there'll be another Assassin's Creed. So I think Breakpoint Assassin's Creed's a good shout.
You know,
Rainbow Six Siege probably not a good
maybe
shout.
Splinter Cell, or
Oh, that would be
because
good.
they had why is his name just escaped us? They had Sam Fisher in Wildlands, didn't it? It was like a optional mission DLC.
Yeah, it was.
Like you met him, so maybe that's like a nod to here. This is what's
They also
coming.
had a Predator in Wildlands, so
They're making a Predator
I
game,
know,
but it's
I
not
saw that.
Ubisoft though.
I was a little bit excited about that.
Yeah.
Asymmetrical.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Like, so one person's playing Predator and then you're playing a squad, but the squad isn't hunting Predator. They'll be doing like actual tasks, so there'll be like AI and they'll be like, here's the other thing, you gotta go and extract this target. But Predator's also there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only problem I have with it is it gonna be a bit like Friday the 13th where it's like, it's not that fun unless you're Predator.
Yeah.
Like,
Like Evolve and.
what was the one that did it, which I think was quite well? It's like Friday the 13th, but it's not. What's it called? The other one that is basically Friday the 13th, but it has all the other guys. It's got Freddy Krueger. It's got Mike Myers.
Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight. Yeah, Dead by Daylight. It's like
That's-
they've
but that's-
struck quite a good balance.
Yeah,
haven't
but
they?
that's like in an arena. And it is very much that you've got. I suppose. Yeah.
The only thing is, I'm not a fan of like PvEVP, if you know what I mean, like where it's like you're fighting AI and there's players fighting it. I'm not a fan because like my least favourite modes, like I love Titanfall, and Titanfall 2 was like attrition, where it was like I hated the grunts being there
Yeah.
because like I'd be fighting a dude and he'd run through like 6 grunts, and then all the 6 grunts are like shooting at me, and he gets away, and then like in any other game I would have killed that guy.
Yeah.
Like it annoys us. Like I'm just like I consider them a nuisance. Like more like in the Dead Rising game when you first play it, the zombies are so scary when you're level 1, but like, when you're level 50, you just walk past them.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like with AI against humans. I'm like, you're nothing to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like,
I mean, that game mode was made so everyone could get a Titan.
oh yeah, absolutely. I understand it in the sense that I just didn't enjoy it. I feel like that's why the Division 2's Battle Royale kind of mode, it was called Survival, the DLC, wasn't as good as it could have been because there was AI as well.
Right.
So like sometimes you'd be like shooting a dude, and because he's taking health, he might run away to get cover.
Yeah.
And you'd run around the corner, and there'd be all these like elite enemies, and as you know on the Division, they're bullet spongy as fuck.
Yeah.
So it's like you'd just have to stop, because if you ran through them, you'd 100% die.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't put 6 clips, because you just wouldn't be able to reload in time. You know what I mean? So it's just be like, he's got away then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I suppose arguably that's the mechanic of the game, is that that's an option that they can get away, but I just didn't find it fun. So I'm interested, but I'll have to see something before.
I'm just interested
before I'm
in
saying
that.
yeah.
Really, like it's all I care about.
Did you see the whole thing on Facebook where it was like the comment section on IGN changed to like wow cool post IGN, thanks for sharing.
I saw something about it, but
So
I didn't
like-
know what it was about.
So like the rumour is that people like on Facebook there was a thing like a top fan badge you'd get, which would be above your name if you've posted on loads of
I've seen the people with
yeah,
top
so
fan
like so
badges
apparently
and
it was
stuff.
like people trying to do that, but like every single post by IGN just became this, people saying the exact same thing, which is wow cool post IGN, thanks for sharing, but like every comment, but it was like 2 weeks, and like normally like I get my gaming news a lot of the time on Facebook, I'll just be like reading it, because otherwise it's like someone from work just been like, oh it's sunny isn't it, and you're like yeah it is. Anyway, gaming news. You know, like just move on. So like, and I would usually read the comments, because the top comment would always be funny. You know what I mean? Because that's why it's the top comment, and just every comment was just that. I think it might have been like a protest in that IGN posted a lot of clickbait shit,
Yeah, they do.
because
I
surely everyone couldn't be going for the top fan badge.
No.
I mean, I've got a top fan badge on IGN,
No.
and not for like being a top fan. It's literally because I would just tag a friend in a post.
Yeah.
Like every time I'm like, that's interesting, I'll tag a friend in it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I wouldn't write anything of interest. I wouldn't write a comment. I wouldn't write a comment to my friend. I would just literally be their name. Like,
Yeah.
Like so they know. Look at this gaming news. Do you know what I mean? And that apparently makes you a top fan. Like I'm definitely not. I'm barely a fan of that. Let alone a top fan. What do you think about Modern Warfare being called Modern Warfare? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Do you think they're doing that intentionally? To
Yeah, they're
bulk
rebooting
the
it.
sales a bit. Yeah,
They're
it's a
rebooting it.
soft reboot apparently.
Yeah, I've heard bits about their story and how they're trying to be edgy and
They are being
political
edgy.
and stuff.
I feel like they're trying to go back to like Modern Warfare 2, where it was like the one where you kill everyone in the airport.
No Russian.
Yeah, no Russian. Yeah, I feel like they're trying to go back to that.
Yeah, and well, they are. They've said like they are, and like some of the stuff I've heard about it seems like there's some like choices and
Yeah.
stuff, and I'll be interested to see where it goes. If I play Call of Duty, it's mostly for the campaign. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just fun corridor shooter.
Yeah,
Like
the campaigns. Obviously, I would say Modern Warfare was the best campaign series that they've had.
yeah,
Black Ops had its highs, and it's obviously definitely most recently had its
loads.
lows.
Yeah, as in none.
As a non. Well, I don't know if you ever played. There was like the like training missions for each of the specialists,
Right.
but they had proper high done cutscenes, this was clearly what was originally the story,
Mm-hmm.
and they've cut what was there up into these little. Because there is like an overarching theme to the story. I didn't play them all because it just didn't hold us.
Yeah.
But it was like, what's the guy called? Woods from Black Ops. He's like the main badass in that series. He's like, you know, like you got Captain Price and
right. Yeah.
he's like that. He's the badass from Vietnam, and it's like his daughter or something, and she's like in all of the cutscenes.
Right.
But then the specialists are just like random mercenaries. But those missions are just to teach that specialist's ability, and you basically just play like a game mode of multiplayer, but against bots. And it's pointless. But each one had this cutscene, and each one had this character in, and it was like alluding to this other company or corp doing something, and it's like, he just kind of started, didn't he? And then he just realised it was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Call of Duty's up in the air, isn't it? Because it's Sledgehammer Games have just let go.
Yeah.
So next year's Call of Duty, which apparently is meant to be Black Ops, is up in the air.
Yeah.
And obviously that's the one that's probably going to be...
What studios are working on not Black Ops, on Call of Duty? You've got Infinity Ward still, but
Infinity Ward.
everyone that was Infinity
Well, it's
Ward.
not, it's not Infinity Ward, it's just Infinity Ward in name, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Because they all left.
Well, they all went to
They went to
Respawn.
Respawn, yeah.
Yeah, which did Titanfall.
Yeah, and most recently Apex Legends.
Yeah.
And they've got the, is it the Star Wars game they're doing as well?
Yeah, the Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
so
to see some gameplay of that actually.
we will. Next week, EA Play. We'll probably see it because they've released their schedule. They've got nothing that's like to be confirmed. It's like Jedi Fallen Order, Apex Season 2, Battlefield 5, FIFA, Madden, and something else. But like even like Anthem is not being shown because that game is dead in the water.
Well, they delayed the end game content, haven't they? While they were bug fixing,
which threw their roadmap
completely out.
out.
But then, like, they've just announced Cataclysm finally, which is like their in-game content, and I think the show streaming, like, no one was impressed.
Yeah.
It was like gonna not pull anyone back.
And it's also I just saw this morning. I saw it actually was the roadmap.
Roadmag.
Roadmap has no dates on it anymore.
Oh, wow.
Has no schedule of like when they're gonna get stuff out. It's just its player base has dropped. I had numbers. It's not even on the Microsoft website for Xbox.
Yeah.
You can look at like the top 49 games for some reason. Not top 50.
Oh, yeah.
Top 49.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Anthem wasn't even on it.
It's not even top 50.
Black Ops 2.
Is it above 50 though?
It's well, that's the thing. No, I don't know. But Black Ops 2 was higher than it.
Wow.
Like, there's more people playing Black Ops 2.
Yeah, playing that on
than
PC
Anthem.
or like back compat through Xbox.
Yeah,
or
and it was like Anthem when it released. It had 330,000 viewers on Twitch.
Oh man.
The other week it had like 120 viewers or something.
The problem that they had was for me when I played like a bit like with EA Access, you got like a 10-hour play.
Trial, yeah.
I didn't play 10 hours.
No, I didn't. I played about 3.
Didn't. But like, loot obviously is the big thing, and that's what everyone was complaining about. Like, there's not enough interest in loot, and like for me, it was like not even like my character wasn't interesting looking enough. Like, as much as I hate when a game doesn't do this, excuse me, is when like you should be able to customize every part of your armor. You should be able to paint it whatever color. Don't get us wrong, but because they did that, I was like, well, there's no better armor than the armor I've created now, because my armor's exactly the colours I wanted. It looks exactly how I want it. You don't have any, and then I didn't see any interesting armor beyond that, and I'm like, well, I'm level 2 and I already look how I want to look. Like, what am I chasing?
Yeah.
And you've got the guns didn't look interesting.
The guns
and third person, I think third person in general, obviously, I do like a lot of third person shooters, but I think third person, it's hard for a gun to feel it's impactful or personally you as does in first person, because you're not really seeing it.
Yeah.
You're just seeing the same crosshair you always see on your screen, and you're just shooting that, and it's that crosshair's doing damage either one hit or very fast. Like, that's the difference, really. You know what I mean? So like, and obviously because you're seeing third person, you're seeing the back of your character, you don't really see the gun. So there was nothing really interesting.
I found it the world sparse, boring,
Absolutely.
and like. He was like,
It was
I
that
can
whole thing
fly
that
around.
Ubisoft downgrades as well, isn't it? Where it just didn't look like what we saw at E3
No.
in 2016.
And it's like, you can fly around, which I thought was like cool. Oh, but you get overheated, so
you
you
get
land
overheated, so you
and
go
like walk for a little bit, and then you can go
yeah,
back
and
and
then
it's
you
like,
go, like, just let us
fly. What does it matter?
They're like, but you can fly through a waterfall to cool off, and you can fly a bit further. Yeah, but there's like one waterfall for every like two. Like, I still end up dropping, running for 5, and then flying again.
Yeah.
Just let me fly, man. Just let us fly.
I just don't think the game was very good.
Yeah, I just don't.
Even outside of all the loot stuff, I just don't think it was very good. It had potential.
I mean, it absolutely had potential. And don't get us wrong, I didn't expect it to be like flying out the gate, because you've just got to think of like every other looter shooter, first iteration had issues.
Except for Borderlands.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually replaying the Game of the Year edition, and I'm just like, yeah, this holds up really fucking well. Like, Borderlands is just good, man.
Yeah, I love Borderlands. I still never finished 2.
Still never finished 2 or pre-sequel. I think I've put more time into 2 than most games as well.
But
I've got to have like a couple of hundred hours on that.
I put a lot
I've played
of
like
time
level
into
1 to 40 so many times and not finished the full quest and started with so many different people.
Well, it's like the other week we were playing and it was just
Yeah.
kind of tedious.
Yeah.
Running backwards and forwards to do quests, and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of a quest line, I'm going to keep doing it, but you
Yeah.
just come backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards, and I don't know.
What do you think? Have you seen the gameplay for 3?
Yeah, it's more Borderlands, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll,
I'm excited.
yeah, I don't know if I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm excited for advanced movement. I'm excited to be able to slide and mantle and
yeah, that's good. That will make a huge difference.
Such a
Actually,
huge
that will
difference.
make a huge difference. But I just
that's one of the
I'm
things that
finding
like,
it hard to separate from Randy Pitchford at the minute,
Oh,
and
God,
the
yeah.
horrible human being that it turns out he is.
yeah.
Um,
I'm surprised that I'm like it's shocking. Don't get us wrong. I'm not going to downplay that, but I'm not surprised. Like I don't think there's anything where like I've been ever inclined to think he was anything other than that. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
as bad as that, obviously, but like it really isn't shocking to us
it's just
because
become very, very slimy.
like I've always considered him a liar and like a bit of a thief because like I feel
Aliens
like he's
Colonial Marines.
yeah exactly chewing to come
The-
forever.
The kick in the nuts that Aliens Colonial Marines was.
I feel like we've been robbed by him several times already.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I am reluctant in the sense of, oh, if I'm buying Borderlands, am I giving him money? But then he hasn't made Borderlands. He even actually said on the stage at that like the last one where he was like, oh yeah, I haven't really seen it. I haven't had much of a hand in this one. It's like this is and that's because obviously he's so high up now.
Yeah.
He's too busy like threatening to kill people.
Yeah.
And
And
touching
putting
people up and that.
animal abuse videos on
Yeah.
Twitter, and it's not.
I'm not gonna type. I am gonna typecast. Like if you're a magician, like you're a bit weird, aren't you? If you're into magic as an adult and you're not a successful magician.
I have done the odd magic trick.
Yeah.
But,
I was looking for this to be like some horrible pun.
No,
You're
no.
gonna pull a card out and be like, "Was this your card?" And I'm like, "That's my signature. I didn't even sign anything."
No, I used to have a deck of like marked cards,
Yeah.
a trick deck. I used to take them to the pub,
Yeah.
and to parties and stuff, and just get people to buy me drinks whenever I was out.
We're not friends anymore. And how many people have you assaulted? Now that you're on trial, that reminds us on October. Imagine, that would be a very different podcast.
Yeah, very different.
So do you have any other big news stories?
There's the whole Epic mega sale thing that
Yeah.
went on, and some people put
Yeah,
their games
that
on
was-
sale,
Yeah. Well, that was Borderlands again, wasn't it? People were getting Borderlands 3 like cheaper.
which they ended up on that. It was, but the first one was the Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2.
Yeah.
Pulled theirs off because they were aware of the sale, but they weren't aware of because they could choose to participate in the sale or not.
Oh yeah.
The thing they couldn't choose to participate in was anything over £15.
Right.
Epic would give you $10 off.
Right.
And basically, Epic would give that $10 to the developer. So the developer didn't take a loss.
Oh really?
The problem is, then that devalues the game, especially
Yeah.
Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which isn't out.
Yeah.
Like, that means that when
Same
when
with
it
one.
sells, when it goes on on general sale when it releases, people will have bought it for like $10 cheaper.
Yeah.
And people will be like, well, I'm not going to buy it because I could have got it $10 cheaper.
Yeah.
And it just devalues
It
stuff.
does. Yeah.
Like,
Games aren't holding that value. Well, certain games, most games aren't holding the value much
No.
these days. Like that thing with like Rage 2, I literally know in my, I'm just like, next month it's at least £10 off next month.
yeah, well,
It's
games
at least
do.
£15 off the month.
They
after.
get their big sales and pre-orders because
Yeah.
some people still pre-order for some
Yeah.
reason, and people pre-order digital
Yeah.
copies. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And then
I can't
when it
remember the last
releases,
game I pre-ordered. Maybe Red Dead. I think that was digital.
I've pre-ordered games if I know I've got the money now, but I won't
Yeah.
then, and I'm like, I'll get it, so I've got it on release.
I hate the
in all
pre-order
fairness, I
stuff.
pre-ordered Mortal Kombat 11,
Yeah.
but that was mainly because I wanted Shao Kahn on release. And it's one of those games that I know I was going to buy anyway,
Yeah.
so I might as well pay for it like now and get Shao
Yeah.
Kahn, and then Shao Kahn,
Shao Kahn.
Khan.
Can you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, that's. What do you think about them taking that out and putting it as a pre-order bonus? Does that not annoy you a little bit?
It does a little bit, but it's one of those things where it may, like, I understand how the game industry works.
Yeah.
Like, the art team is generally, the majority of the art team is done
Yeah.
months before the game releases.
Yeah.
And to keep those people employed, give them something to work on
Yeah.
to come out for release.
Yeah.
But-
Most pre-order content is inconsequential, I suppose, so that's not really. I just think, like, a lot of the time they're putting these pre-order things and I'm like, is this actually incentivising anyone anymore? Is anyone being incentivised by it?
Some people must go, I was
'Cause, like-
like Shao Kahn.
Like, Shao
Like-
Kahn I understand because he is literally gameplay, but like a lot of the time it's like the Division 2, it's like skins.
Yeah,
And,
skins
like,
no.
Like, there's that,
No. Like, and even,
I think it was
Yeah.
Mafia 3, like, I'm sure that was one where, like, I got it the first week of release, but I didn't get the pre-order. But the pre-order bonus was, like, some different vehicles in that game, but it's like a GTA style game where you just, and you see a car and just go and steal it. So the second I seen a nice car, I just stole it, and that was my car for the majority of my playthrough. So, like, why do I need these
Yeah.
other cars? You know what I mean?
like,
yeah, stuff like that I don't.
who cares?
Like, I'm trying to think of game. I can't think of a game. Like, I can think of really old games where it made sense, or like not necessarily made sense, but it was more of a thing. Like, say, Horse Armor was one. Was it Saboteur? Did you play the Saboteur?
I did. It wasn't a bad
It
game.
wasn't bad, but I remember that because I pre-ordered it. When you stealth killed someone, you had a knife and you killed them with a knife.
Mhm.
Or if you hadn't pre-ordered it, you just like choked them out. And I was like, not like oh, that's all. I just remember that it's like a thing. And I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
I got pre-ordered.
And also that one had a thing like where it had a code called the midnight thing, so you could see the character's boobs or not. Because like he was like in France and he like his hideout was in a strip club.
Yeah.
And if you didn't put this code in, it was like they just all wore bras. But then not. But what was even weirder was because obviously it's a video game and NPCs tend to look the same. It was like the same pair of boobs on like loads of different faces. There'd be like a black woman with a completely different face, but the exact same boobs. So I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
France was weird. Fictional France was weird.
Video games were weird in the late 2000s.
Yeah. That studio's gone now. That was pandemic. You made like mercenaries and stuff,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Have they gone?
Yeah, they're completely shut, aren't they?
Oh well.
I wouldn't mind a modern mercenaries because
Yeah.
I think you could. I suppose Just Cause is the modern mercenaries.
Yeah.
And I
guess
suppose
it
that's
is.
not as fun as I thought. It was like in hindsight, I was like, oh actually no.
Yeah.
Have you tried Just Cause 4 on
Yeah, I
the Game
don't like
Pass?
it. I didn't like 3. Didn't particularly like 2.
I mean,
kinda like
Christ,
one.
it's terrible on
Was it?
console. Like,
Oh,
the frame rate horrendous.
3 was terrible for frame
Yeah, frame
rate.
rate.
Like, I mean, I only played it because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly. So you're like,
Like,
give it a shot. Why not?
Gave it a shot and was like, played it for maybe a couple of hours and was just like, yeah.
Never again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like, yeah, it was fun at the kill zone. It's a bit like Wildlands where it's huge, like an absolute massive open world, and there's just nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Or nothing to do with consequence or either. That was my problem with Wildlands, which is weird because I like the Far Cry series literally for the outposts. So like the last few Far Cries, story-wise, have been fucking terrible. Like,
Yeah.
Look, even 3 isn't a great story. Like, it's people like harking back to 3. I'm like, nah, the outposts were cool.
Yeah.
Like having the bow and stuff, that was cool. Like, but the story wasn't cool.
No, the story wasn't.
And like, I always put stupid drugged up dream sequences in. You fight this absolute over the top monster,
Yeah.
and it's just like ridiculous. Like in Far Cry 5, it was like this last, oh, it's called Eve or something like that. Oh Christ, Faith,
Yeah.
and it was like they had that bliss, which was like a gas in the water that made you hallucinate. And it was like you're fighting her and she's like floating about like a witch and stuff. And it's just
Yeah.
like, it's not fun. I mean, it's weird in a game where a headshot's a one-hit kill, and then all of a sudden you fight in like a Division enemy where like it's 30 hits to kill them, even if they're all headshots.
I didn't like 5.
But it was
played-
just like, this is
I think I liberated 2 of the, because it was split into 3.
Yeah.
I did 2 and I was
two
like,
areas, yeah.
yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like,
Her area was the worst because obviously because that bliss was there, you were always hallucinating in her,
yeah, and
area
I
of the
stupidly
map.
did that was the
and
second
it
one.
was
And
just like, no.
I think that's what put me off. Is that
Yeah.
was I was like, I'm done. I was like, if it had been 2 areas and then you get to like the final showdown, I think
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed the game. But because I then had the chore of like, oh, I have to liberate a whole other
A
area.
whole other area.
nah, I'm not gonna bother.
So like what I love about those games is I love the outpost because I love the fact that it's entirely down to you how you tackle that, like what you want to do. Like that freedom of do I go stealth, do I just go pistol only, do I ride in on an elephant? Like that freedom is what is the loop for me. That's what hooks me and why. That's why I got New Dawn. New Dawn was not deserving of my money, but I got it. Well, I enjoyed it because of that loop.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy doing the outpost, but once again that story was shit as well. But that loop is so good, and yet Wildlands, which is arguably the exact same loop, just couldn't grip us. I remember doing it and being like, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's probably the way I play as well. Is I'm really bad for cheesing games, so the second I find the easiest way to successfully get through a situation, I like lather, rinse, repeat that shit until I loathe myself and never want to play it again.
I've got a game for you to play if you like Outposts and that sort of thing and deciding how to approach it. Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. Yeah. It's basically Outpost the game, but with like you can set the like difficulty and stuff. So you can have like full bullet. Ballistic.
I think I might actually have it. I just don't think I played it. I think I might have bought it for a couple of quid.
Yeah, I bought it for a couple of quid and really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it.
I probably will let that
because it's basically.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I ended up choosing like whatever the most successful thing was, and because of sniping in Wildlands, and then you've got the AI characters. You do the sync shot where like you mark 3 targets, then you snipe one guy and the other 3 guys die basically. Yeah. Doesn't matter where your squad is, they headshot those guys.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with.
And that was like the outpost. It was like I don't have to do 2 sync shots for most outposts.
With Sniper Ghost Warrior 3, it's just you.
Yeah.
You're on your own. Obviously, you've got if you're gonna snipe, you've got to pick your targets. You got to try and make sure that you go and see if you do move, like shoot and move and stuff. Or you can go in guns blazing, or you can go in close range stealth. Yeah. And if you put it like on hard, where you've got like full bullet trajectories, and you've got to compensate for wind and all sorts, it's very fun. It's basically Sniper Elite. It's Far Cry.
I'm down. I really think I've got it. I just don't think I've played it.
I give it a go.
Because I do that. I buy games cheap, and I'm like, I'll install it, and then I just don't. Like I'll finish this one first, and I don't finish this one. Yeah. Like another one is I've played. Playing Days Gone, didn't get very far into it, just because it's like a checklist game. Yeah. And I was actually looking forward to it, and because it was a checklist game, arguably, like because I'd read loads of reviews and they were like a lot of them were like negative, and I was just like, but I like zombies and the guy looks badass and the bike riding is really fun and stuff. Yeah. But then when I actually got into it, it's just didn't. The third person shooting, like I said before, obviously there's only so much you can do with it, but it just didn't feel impactful at all. Yeah. I felt like it was like shooting Cheetos at them, you know what I mean, at marshmallow zombies and stuff. I mean, I've covered the majority of my news, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I've got anything.
So we should probably move on to like what you're playing. Yeah. What are you playing?
At the minute, I'm playing God of War. Just picked that up. So
you got a PlayStation again to just smash exclusives.
Yeah, basically.
You played Spider-Man, didn't you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed Spider-Man. I still play it. I still put
That's one of those ones. I just couldn't bring myself to play it, and the reason's fucking stupid because it's like absolutely hypocritical of how I am with every other game. I was like, it's just like a shinier version of Spider-Man games I've already played before.
Yeah, but you've just said that you've picked up Days Gone for a checklist game, and it kind of is. Yeah. It's a very good one.
It's weird though, that's what I'm saying. I don't understand why.
It has that stuff you were talking about, like the outpost thing. There's certain areas you can tackle, like just go in and start fighting, or you can be stealth.
What I was interested in is one of my friends at work was saying he was playing it, and he said like the suits are cool, and they've got like the Iron Spider suit and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they've all got different powers. Yeah. But you can also like. Once you've unlocked the suit, you unlock the power, and you can apply that to any of the other suits as well. So I spent most of my game in the classic, regular Spider-Man suit, but with the powers of some of the other suits. Yeah,
that's cool.
That was very good. It was a very good game. Yeah. So God of War, which I've just started, so I'm not going to go in. Like I like it, but I'm not very.
It's far. Good, yeah.
Spider-Man was great. Mortal Kombat 11. Yeah, I was playing a lot of that.
Does that have a story mode? Does it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a continuation from Mortal Kombat X, so you got 9.
You know, you're the fighter guy. Shoot people.
And then just the game itself.
It sounded so wrong, but
very good. It looks great. Plays great.
I've seen like some of the brutalities and stuff.
Yeah. Played that. And then there's sort of like a few other things. Bit of Battlefield 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't
Have you
tried
tried the new
No,
map?
I haven't checked it
I
yet. I was
played-
going to, but then I just...
I played some on the day because it came out a day early. I don't know why. But I wasn't-
because the Thursday was a holiday in
right.
Sweden. Is that where?
I'm so happy. Yeah, that's where the
Right,
dice
yeah.
is split. Yeah. I'm happy that was the case because it was my day off was the day early because I was like, oh, I'm not going to get to play. So I got to play. It's definitely the best looking map, but I'm playing on. I've got One X now, playing on Pro as well, and I don't know why, but like the frame rate's fucking shocking.
Really?
I don't know if it's like it's struggling to render it or something, but like I just couldn't get it in a server. Maybe it was the servers, but I couldn't get into it. The frame rate was absolutely not terrible on PlayStation, but on Xbox it was playing fine. It's not a perfect map or anything. It's like, but it's definitely one of the most interesting, and like it's got really diverse areas to fight on. So like some of it is like, well, this is a sniper's bit. This is where the snipers snipe each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It reminds me of...
But then there's like, oh, this is a whole village for close quarters and.
what was that map in Battlefield 1? Mount Grappa?
Mount Grappa, yeah.
Grappa?
Yeah.
Grappa?
Grappuccino, yeah, it was, yeah.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Like from
Well, that's one of the things that's damn played on one. Like I played a lot of one, but I was not the biggest fan of one. But one had some really diverse maps. Like every map seemed to be complete. Like they were wildly different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't remember the names of like any of the maps on one. I don't know why.
No, I can't.
Like if you said that, I'd be like,
Grappa,
ah yeah. But like I couldn't think of. But like there was just ones like Ballroom Blitz. Like that's the one that comes to me.
Yeah.
Just absolutely diverse. Like I had obviously I had the premium after we talked about where it was like there's one that's like the burnt out forest. It had some beautiful visuals. That's like a really good look. That was the first time obviously they used the new engine where it's like, wow, this is so pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's one of this. It feels like, but it's just been too long coming. It's been like what 7 months.
Yeah, and we've had 2 maps.
We've had 2 maps, and like the last map was so bad. What's the last map?
What's it called?
It's the tank battle.
Yeah, Blitzkrieg map.
Something like that. But anyway, that Panzerstorm.
Panzerstorm, that's the one. Yeah.
Panzerstorm is. It was so bad at launch they had to like redo whole bits of it. They like had to dig out trenches so that like infantry combat could exist on it and stuff. And
Yeah, but like I mean,
I didn't think that was a problem with it personally because when I played it before they patched it and like updated it, I didn't feel like I wasn't getting into gunfights. I didn't feel like I was failing to succeed. I felt like. Is it on Bad Company 2? It was like Twisted Metal was like the massive one with the big wind, like the like the white windmills we have.
Yes.
It's like a huge map on that, and like it was just fields before you'd get to a town. It just felt like that. I was like, well, yeah, it's a tank map. It's a map for tanks.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, you can't expect every single map to be run and gun all of the time in Conquest. If you want run and gun, that's what Team Deathmatch is for. Like.
Yeah, but it's like. You've got maps that like there's no tanks and stuff, and then those people who really enjoy playing in tanks, they don't like those maps. So it's like I think you just gotta have a bit of balance.
This is what I don't like about the new map is right now there is a playlist of that map, but it if you join a Conquest server, it flips over to Breakthrough.
Yeah.
And I hate Breakthrough.
I don't like Breakthrough.
It doesn't work.
I like Conquest and.
Well, they're taking out Domination, aren't they, and Frontlines because they're saying like nobody plays them. But I'm like, take Breakthrough. Domination, please.
There's probably a lot of people that still play.
I like Domination because Domination is capturing the flag, but it's like when you don't want to have to worry about vehicles, I'll have a few rounds on Domination.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I'd rather play Domination than Team Deathmatch. I'd rather they get rid of Team Deathmatch.
Yeah.
Because Team Deathmatch is a selfish game mode where you don't really need to work with your squad.
Yeah.
So Domination keeps at least the teamwork element a bit alive. You know what I mean? But I suppose Squad Conquest is probably filling that void for Domination.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
As you can tell, I've been playing Battlefield.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, that's about all I've been playing really. I've got a few other things on my list to play. I picked up 140k Deathwing on PlayStation because we want to play that for a while. It's just Vermintide, but 40k.
Yeah.
And Yakuza 0 as well as another one.
Yeah.
I think I picked up. It's on the PlayStation Hits.
It's like a prequel or something, isn't it?
Yeah. And I just fancy playing it, so I'll pick that up. So
explain to us the Yakuza again. I just don't.
I've never played one.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was gonna say I just don't. I've never. Like I've maybe seen a bit of gameplay.
Yeah,
but I just feel like I was just like, I don't understand this.
I've seen a bit of gameplay and it reminds me of like Shenmue,
Yeah.
and I loved Shenmue.
Yeah. It looks like it's like 1 minute is like it's Yakuza and it's like all guns blazing and stuff, and then the next minute it's like doing drop kicks and stuff.
Yeah,
and then he's like on karaoke.
Yeah, it's like rhythm games and dance games and stuff, and I'm just like,
what is this?
yeah, I want a bit of madness in my life.
Was it Sleeping Dogs where you could do karaoke as well? I'm sure you could do karaoke in Sleeping Dogs.
I can't
I just remember.
Yes, it was. I
feel
love
like-
Sleeping Dogs.
yeah,
It was a great game. One of my favourite stories in the game
Yeah.
as well, especially.
It was a really strong story, and it was really interesting. You were working undercover, and you'd have missions where you're basically playing as a criminal,
Mhm.
and then you also had cop missions at the same time.
Yeah,
I like that. Like
there was
the position between the two.
and that's what the whole story was about. Like even towards the ending was like,
Yeah.
are you still a cop
Are you-
at this
yeah,
point?
at this
Like,
point,
or are you
because-
just full?
Because when they kill like a bunch of them,
Mafia.
like even though you were undercover, they're like your family weren't there, so like you're taking it personally and stuff.
Mhm.
That was good.
Yeah, it was very good. So what have you been playing?
So obviously Battlefield, always play
Yeah.
Battlefield forever. Through all of the shit.
Yeah, the game plays well. It's still
Yeah.
fun to play.
I haven't unlocked the new gun. I missed it. They did the anti-material rifle.
The boys.
The boys here too. I get killed by it. It's the one hit. It's
One hit kill within 100.
There's a Jack Frag said he's like, this is OP, and
Yeah.
he's just like, and he's like, it's not OP in the sense of like I'm doing well with it, because he's like, I do well kind of in general,
Yeah.
which is true. You know what I mean? Like some people are just, but like I feel like if you're having a sniper war with someone, they might hit you once, but you'll hit them twice and get a kill and stuff
I
like
didn't
that.
get it, and I'm a half decent sniper. Like I can finish in the top 5 on my team as a sniper,
yeah.
which
Definitely,
is something that shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen because normally they're just lying down somewhere, but it's because you're pushing the objective and fucking killing people at the same time.
And so I think in my hands it might be a bit OP.
Yeah, well that's what.
But
my thing is like I can tell when a player is bad, like because I'm a hardcore Battlefield player.
yeah,
And like sometimes I'll be like, I shot them first and then they shoot me, but I die. So I've hit them once, and normally what would happen is if they did hit us twice, I'd still get my second shot on them before they finishes off.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Or I'd heal between shots or something. But it's basically a one-hit kill up to 100 meters. And I'm a close-range sniper. I don't really snipe from like.
No,
I'm on the point. I'm capturing the point.
Well,
you know what I mean? So
I'm doing that as well, but I'm also picking off.
yeah.
Like I'm counter sniping people at like massive ranges. It's my favourite thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just like where you've got to aim like right above someone and they're running. You just it's just like
You're like, I'm the best. Yeah, and then when you do the clip, you're like, how do I edit out the bit where I missed the first 4 shots? They were rangefinder shots, alright? Shut up.
yeah.
I've got Borderlands Game of the Year edition, just because some of the lads from it were like, oh, we're going to jump on Borderlands. And then hilariously, we all just bought Borderlands and installed it, and we're like, haven't even played it yet together. And then PlayStation Plus is free game this month, is Borderlands: A Handsome Collection.
Right.
So just all bought it. When like some of them didn't have either, they were just, and it was just like, oh, we could have just all played Borderlands 2 on the pre-sale. But it's nice to go back because I think Borderlands 1 is better.
I think it's the best.
It's the best game, and obviously you're getting all the DLC, so that's great. The only thing that is an issue for me is there's really bad screen tearing on the game, like really bad, and I don't know how they fucked that up. But like at first I was like, oh, is this just my setup? Am I doing it? I googled it and there's like a whole thing on Reddit, and then Digital Foundry who do like the comparison videos. They were like, yeah, it's got really bad screen tearing.
That's disappointing.
And apparently it's like worse on Xbox. So I'm just like, oh, I'm playing on PlayStation. It's noticeable.
Yeah.
It's not like noticeable where it's like I'm not gonna miss shots or anything like that. It's not gonna hamper my gameplay experience. It's just every now and again I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I'm not much of a graphics whore anyway, so
No, I'm not.
I'll completely enjoy my playthrough.
I can't get away with. There's 2 things I hate when it comes to graphics: is screen tearing and motion blur.
Yeah.
Everything else I can sort of look past, but those 2 things.
Motion blur is hit and miss for me. I think some games do it quite well. Like it
Racing
works.
games works great because it gives you a sense of speed.
Yeah.
But when you're like
But shooters are usually
you're turning like you're aiming and it's just like blur. Oh no, not for me.
Turn it off. I really hate like depth of field effects. So it's like you aim down sights and it blurs and it's just
that's another thing.
It's like that hurts my.
I can get away with it sometimes.
Yeah.
But other times it's a bit.
So
intrusive.
obviously, I haven't played any of that with the boys yet, but I downloaded it and I played like 6 hours straight. I was like, I'll just have a mission just because Borderlands, that loop it's so chill, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
like put some music on, play some Borderlands. So I've got that. I've just ordered Division 2 for PlayStation. Once again, one of the lads was like, "Come on!" I was like, "Oh, I don't want it." He's like, "Go on!"
Yeah.
Like, so that's a game I feel like probably not going to enjoy the gameplay as much as I'm just going to enjoy the crack, you know.
Yeah.
Where it's just like looter shooter. That's fine. The thing is it works with Borderlands because the enemies are ridiculous and the world's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's annoying to me
You
when
can-
it's like a dude in a t-shirt or a hoodie and he's running towards you with a baseball bat and you have to headshot him 4 times. Like, I'm like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I played the beta for 2.
Yeah, I played it for 10 minutes and
And,
broke. I it got to a point I got stuck, like, because I couldn't be bothered with any of the cutscenes or anything. I was
Yeah.
like, I want to get into some gameplay. So
yeah, of course.
I got through and it was like, oh, go through the city and meet this person. You'd be like up on a rooftop.
Yeah.
Went into the building and I was like, skip the cutscene. I got stuck inside the room that the cutscene was in. So it's supposed to kick you out of the building to continue.
There's no way out
And I
of
just
this room.
couldn't get out. And I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to play
Yeah.
that. And yes, it was a beta. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
but
it's just also like
I was just like,
sometimes you can't be bothered. And It's
Yeah.
like your time at the end of the day, isn't it? Sometimes I think you hit a point where probably the older you get, the more like, do I want to give 20 hours to a broken game? I'll wait till it's fixed if I'm
Yeah.
gonna play it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I played the beta and I played they did one where you would have like max level end game mission basically, so you had max level gear and stuff like that. And the bullet sponge, you felt fine for that because like all the enemies had like really high end gear on. They were like wearing like loads of armor and stuff, and there was like these like robotic dogs that almost looked like bomb disposal units and stuff. And obviously it made sense that something made of metal would take loads of bullets.
yeah.
So like that was fine. Like I was on board. They had like all this headgear on. So like if I headshot them and they didn't die in one headshot, I was like, this is fine. I'm okay with this. It was just like say it's like the initial playthrough. I'm like, oh, dude in the shirt, come on.
Yeah.
And I've got like a gun that I know would like punch like a fist size hole through his chest, and I've got to like put like 1 million into it. Like, no, but
Yeah.
I'll play it. It'll be fun. But I mean that's it at the minute. I think that might be it for our first episode. Do you
I think so, yeah.
Thanks very much for tuning in to the first ever Player
Yeah,
Time
thank you.
podcast. We will be available on iTunes and Podbean.
Yep.
Hopefully going to come to Spotify, but I think you're going to do 5 episodes first.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
in
So,
time. And obviously on YouTube if you're watching it. If you're not watching, well, we are on YouTube
Yeah.
if you'd like to see our faces.
Yeah.
And thanks very much.
Yeah.
Please do like and subscribe.